name is Kit. Today I'm going to be talking to you about this little project I'm working on, a little illustration of my character Mirth, Vilecast. She is an original character I made on the game World of Warcraft. Anyways, let's get a little bit into it. As you can see, I'm trying to kind of shape out what I'm wanting to do with the pose here. I do not often reference my art. I don't use references. It's just because I'm stupid and like to work with what knowledge I already have. Drawing boxes helps. I don't know how to explain my process very well. I just kind of think of it as rocks. You're trying to carve something out of a rock, and in that way you just, I don't know, you work with what you got. You use the lines. I do not like to do the sketch to line art path. I like to do just straight up line art. Well, maybe just a cleaned up sketch to do most of my artwork, and then at the very end I might post a video later where I show what I do to kind of correct some of those really janky lines that I keep. Sometimes I do keep them, but usually I will render over them. That's when you take a layer over all the other layers, and of course you just draw on top of everything. It's really saved my whole life as an artist. Anyways, so the outfit's going to be kind of boring. It's going to be based off of the transmogrification that she has in the game, which is boring by nature. Because she's, supposed to be very boring, very ordinary looking, maybe a little bit darker than normal blood elves, but that's just kind of the character that I made here. That's kind of the character that I'm working with, and how so far I've played her. So about fabric lines, I don't really care for them. But you have to do them because it's clothing, so I just like to try to add weight, try to think of it as like a blanket. Any piece of cloth is like a blanket because she wears cloth armor, so just kind of draping it in ways that look a little bit elegant, but at the same time also match kind of the shape given in the game. So the models are very a little bit outdated in that game, a little bit lacking in some areas, but I think that's just part of the style of the game. You'll see here, I don't know, I haven't done such a fuller body picture in a long time, illustration in a long time, so you can see I'm kind of struggling with the proportions. Her hands look fucking huge, very big, very unfortunate gorilla hands. That will be fixed towards the end. I like to cheat, and by cheat I mean I like to use the lasso tool and kind of move it around, kind of reshape it as I need to. The eyes here are not going to stay, though they look very dramatic. I like that. So actually might be a note to go back and try to fix something about that. Anyways, I tried to, on the face, be very basic at first, and I will probably continue to work on the face even after I'm done with the speed painting to make sure it looks right. I want it to look soft, but also have some drama to the eye area. Anyways, getting into the fabric folds. Not a big fan of those, but it's just how it is. It doesn't look too bad in the end. I like it. The idea here is that, the clothing are maybe hand-me-downs, a little bit too long for her. So I'm just adding some shadow to the face. Oh, look at those eyes. I'm so good. Eyebrows, not so great. But that'll be done with in the end. Yes, but clothing's supposed to be looking a little bit baggy, a little bit too big for her. Here I'm adding some hair. Probably going to change that a lot as well. I think I added way too much volume towards the end. Her nose is a little bit too big here, so I try to emphasize the shadow of the nose rather than add the usual V nose that I like to add to the character, because here's a little bit too big. Her hair is a little bit dramatic. I don't think I like it like that. I think I might make it look a little more tame, a little more unassuming, a little less body to it, because her hair is supposed to be greasy. My friend gave her the nickname Grease Mop, so that's what we're trying to go for here, a little bit shaggy. Other than that, I tried to break laws and draw hair behind her, but it's not working here because, she has a hood on and a cape in the back. So from here we're drawing a little bit more shapes for the actual outfit, working towards the arms. I always struggle with doing arm lines for the fabric. I tried to do kind of that wraparound. I draw like a log. Not all the time. Sometimes I draw a log and then I just kind of try to wrap the fabric around it, make it look twisted, lived in, actually moving and being worn instead of just a garment that's hanging off. You know what I mean? So here we're editing the hand just like I said we would. A lot. I've always struggled, a bit to get the hands right where I need them to. Sometimes they look really nice, but then they're too big. I think there's also a bit further in from here towards the end where I'm measuring to see how it compares to the face before eventually giving up and then cutting off the area and making a little cross shape to compare it to her head shape. Her head shape may be altered to be bigger in the future. There's really not much I can say about that because I haven't done it yet. However, there are probably a lot of things I will edit. Those things take a long time, and I don't know, I just felt like it would be boring and it wouldn't be worth sharing. So here we're moving the shape around of the eyes a little bit. I wanted to give her eyes more accurate to the concept art I've already drawn of her. Very boring concept art, mind you, but concept art nonetheless. Her eyes are a little bit too almond shaped. We're trying to go for more of a doe shape, but that will be edited in time. She's got black circles because she never sleeps, and her other eye is blind. So I didn't really know what to do there. Don't really know what I'm supposed to do yet, but we'll get there in the future. Usually something like that I try to handle with the rendering. As you can see, my shit's fucked, so I have to go in there and edit some more, use that liquify tool to my advantage. Seeing what I can edit here in the future. I think I'm going to bring the hair and the head and kind of make it longer and more downward, if that makes sense, a little bit further down, because her head's supposed to be hovering, over the rest of her, and it feels like her head's just small and hidden back. Don't want that, want the head forward. But of course that's just notes for me, it's not notes notes of what you should do. Anyways, so here we're doing the cloak. Cloak's back, so I don't really know what I'm going to do with the rest of the clothing lines. It's probably going to take a while for me to get through all that. I don't know. Yeah, I thought doing a speed drawing of the sketch would kind of show some insight into my process of how I sketch things out and then carve from that. to make the final piece. This drawing does not actually conclude with the final piece, because I already said there's some things I'm going to go back and edit, mostly with the lasso tool and a little bit of liquify magic. Art takes a long time. This does not take a long time. I rushed it because I wanted it to be, I don't know. I felt the need to rush because I was recording it for an actual speed painting video and not just the project itself. But then I decided that I was going to make it into an entire project, and therefore now I'm going to take some time afterwards, kind of fix the things that I made. I might make a video explaining all the ways in which I've fixed the video. Here I'm trying to see if I'm going to do a moth. Obviously I don't. So I go over here and I try to do it again, and it didn't work out there. So I decided to do a moth on her shoulder. Little moth. So where this illustration is going to be taking place is a place called the Zarlek Caverns in World of Warcraft. It's a newer zone, and they have these really beautiful moths with glowy underwings. I really enjoy them. I just got a recent pet. It's called the teardrop moth, and that's what I'm supposed to be drawing here, but I am not really good at drawing insects. So there might be a lot of editing to that too, when I continue on with the sketch later. Sometimes it's best not to try to salvage something. Sometimes it's better to try again. That happened when I first drew this. This first sketch did not turn out anything like how it did in the very, very beginning. If I can, I'll go back and nab the original concept art. It was literally just, a little squiggle. So I had the thought while I was doing some roleplay yesterday in Silver Moon City. Thank you to the people who organized that. Very nice, very nice. I wish I could have hung around a little bit longer. Had stuff to do. Anyways, here I'm adding a little bit of shadow. I enjoy doing that. This brush, God, if I can remember the name of it, it's like Lion Decker or something. I bought it. It's part of a brush pack, but I only use this single brush and maybe one other for the shading, shading tool. I usually use, 3 brushes at a time. One brush for the sketching, one brush for the actual shading, and then one brush for the coloring, which are all 3 separate things. You need 3 separate brushes for. When I'm filling it in, I usually use the lasso tool again because I'm lazy. I used to fill it in manually. I was crazy back then. Crazy. Anyways, the video's coming to an end now, but I hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye.